Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. I think we're going to mostly focus on altcoins today, and Ethereum. I don't really consider Ethereum an altcoin. We're gonna go through the different charts. Maybe we'll pull up some charts that you guys want to see, and we'll take it from there. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm just going to post this a few different places so that we can get started, and I can let people know that I'm doing the stream. How's everyone doing tonight? Or I guess not tonight. I normally say tonight, but it's actually the morning time for me. Probably not for everyone though. All right. Um, so how's everyone doing? So the reason we wanna jump in here is because we've been saying for a while that Ethereum, and again, I don't consider Ethereum an altcoin, so please don't give me flack about calling it Revenge of the Alts when I know I don't consider Ethereum an alt. But we have been expecting this move, right? We've simply been expecting it, and honestly, it was it was a fairly low risk bet in a sense, like a fairly low risk investment, mainly because Bitcoin has been so bullish, and even with a Bitcoin retracement, even if it were to go down 20 to 30%, the market would still relatively be fairly healthy. So we've been talking for weeks now, weeks about Ethereum and wanting to accumulate it, and we'll go through. I know you guys have a ton of altcoins on your mind. We'll try to talk about most of them, but we've been talking about this one for a while, Ethereum, and this move is expected in my opinion, right? It would have been more kind of a shocker if this say didn't happen, and we had not seen any type of move. So the reason why we've looked at this is because as we show our if we put on our trusty bull market support line, this is has historically been a decent level for us to claim a bull market, right? For not only Ethereum, for Bitcoin, for a few other coins. This is just our bull market support band. Okay, and if we're breaking this band, you can look at it on the BLX. If we're breaking this band, then it's just simply not good, to put it lightly. However, when we hold the band as support, you see what happens, right? This is why we are here. This is why we are here right here, because we came down to it, and we said this is a tricky time, because it's tricky because no matter what happens to Bitcoin from this point, alts will likely bleed in the short term. Basically, no matter what happens. And the reason we said that was because as long as Bitcoin hugs the 20 week, as long as it hugs the 20 week, alts will likely bleed. And you guys remember alts were bleeding. We also said that if Bitcoin were to drop below the 20 week, alts would bleed against Bitcoin. And we also said that if Bitcoin were to go up, most alts would bleed against Bitcoin. So there weren't really very many scenarios where altcoins could surge against Bitcoin. Maybe you could consider one possible scenario where they could surge in the short term, as if Bitcoin had just come up to this level and then started moving sideways, kind of like these little bunny hills we'd been getting. But for the most part, in the short term, focusing on Bitcoin down here has enabled you to grow that position much larger than you otherwise would have. And then whenever you do decide to take profits from Bitcoin, you can maybe go pick up whatever altcoin you've been eyeing. And this is the whole reason, right? The whole point of the channel is timing these momentum shifts, making the most of your money. And if you're just DCAing into the market, identifying what should you DCA into at various phases of the cycle. And when it was over here, it was Bitcoin. After a move like this, and again, if you look at it on a linear scale, after a move like this, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but people buying Bitcoin at these levels are probably in say 3 years it will probably appear as a good move, but even if it does ultimately turn out to even be a good short term move, right? Even if Bitcoin goes to say 25K, 30K, or something like that in the short term, this is not the smart money. It's just simply not the smart money, and this is what I think a lot of people, you get worked up over, saying that, and it's the same thing every cycle. It's the same thing every cycle. It's something different, right? Every cycle, it's the new normal. Whatever it is, obviously this time it's institutional money / DeFi. Last time it was the ICO craze. There's always something different. But I can assure you that, in my opinion anyways, like, this is not financial advice, in my opinion, the smart money is not buying Bitcoin when it's up 85% in 7 weeks, right? It's just not. We can argue it, of course. We can say, well, if Bitcoin's going to 100K in a few years, then you're still looking at 5x. Yeah, you are. But in my opinion, right, the smart money gets in before this happens, right? The smart money, if you're buying it at 18K, it's going to be hard to stomach a 20 to 30% drop. It might not do it, but it's going to be hard to stomach it. If you were getting in these levels, and it comes back down here, like, I mean, who cares? You don't even get out of bed for that, because you're just like, okay, whatever. Let's just keep the party going, and we'll continue on our merry way. And this is the whole point of the channel, again, is identifying these shifts in the market, right? The momentum shifts in the market, saying this is our accumulation phase, right? This is accumulation, this is accumulation, this is accumulation, right? Up, well, not above it, but this is accumulation. But when you start getting above it, I'm not saying, right, the argument is not, can it go up? Of course it can go up. It's Bitcoin. If we didn't think it couldn't go up, we wouldn't be here for the most part, right? We assume that it will go up. But is the smart money buying at this level? Not in my opinion, right? Simply not in my opinion. The smart money is not buying. Again, that doesn't mean it can't go up. Gamblers can sometimes win money, right? You go to a casino and you place bets. You can sometimes win a lot of money. But this down here is a smart investment, right? This up here is a very risky play. And so the reason why we're talking about this is in lieu of altcoins. So during this move, most altcoins have bled against Bitcoin. Most of them. Now, I'm sure some of you guys have some pet projects that maybe have like a really small market cap and they've gained on Bitcoin. And maybe some of the larger cap ones have gained on Bitcoin. But for the most part, I feel like we could say, for the most part, generally speaking, most projects have lost value against Bitcoin during this move. Okay? We've always said there will come a day when Bitcoin will rally to 20K and the rest of the market will sit still. It will sit still and watch. We've said this for months. I did not anticipate a move to 20K this early. I mean, I can assure you of that. It remains unclear if we will hold it. I mean, if we continue to hold it, then that would be really impressive. If we come back down and then rally on later, right, there's nothing wrong with that either. So we've always contended whenever Bitcoin does rally to 20K, the rest of the market will sit still and watch. And now we're knocking on the door, right? We're knocking on the door. We're at 18.7, 18.8, and a lot of altcoins are flying. And I think a lot of it is in anticipation of Bitcoin getting to 20K. It's basically knocking on the door, and people start to think like, oh, well, wait a second. Bitcoin is approaching its prior all-time high at 20K, but Ethereum is still more than 50% down from its prior all-time high. I mean, the all-time high for Ethereum was $1,400 or so. I mean, it's still like 60% down or something. So this is what typically will catalyze altcoin runs, right? The smart money getting in over here, getting in when it was time to get in, as we've discussed on the channel endlessly. You're already up when you're looking at an 18,000 Bitcoin, 19,000, $20,000 Bitcoin. If you were buying Bitcoin at $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, you're already up like 3 or 4x, maybe 5x, depending on, maybe even 6x, depending on exactly where you got in. And so you look at this and you say, you know what, Bitcoin's up 5x in about 7 or 8 months, and this has been a historic run. One certainly for the record books, and this run will be one we always look back at, and we'll see how high it goes, right? No one can tell you how high it will go, but it is one for the record books, just like the one in 2019 was one for the record books. So then we look at it and say, well, we're not above 20K yet, right? We're not above it yet, but that's not stopping people from trying to front run the move. And we saw this last cycle too. I mean, there were definitely some early candles, some smaller candles, right? If you go back and look at Ethereum, in fact, and you go back all the way over here to the beginning of 2017, you can see that the Ethereum move against Bitcoin happened the first week of January. That's when it started. Okay, and then it moved sideways for a few weeks. But this move preceded Bitcoin getting to a sustainable prior all-time high, because we know that Bitcoin didn't get to the prior all-time high. If we just draw a line, we know that Bitcoin didn't get to the prior all-time high. It first visited it that week of January 2nd, so we could theoretically see a Bitcoin 20K this week. But you'll recognize that Bitcoin came back down. It corrected 30%, 40%. 30 to 40, I think it was like 37% if I remember correctly, and then it rallied back up. But this move here, between the first test of the prior all-time high and then the second, it was about 7 weeks. And then after Bitcoin broke it, it then came back down below and then continued on. But you can see Ethereum, Bitcoin did not sustain its all-time high until like right at the end of March, early April, and that's when it started moving on up. But we already know that Ethereum started its move in early January. And then you can see that it moved sideways with Bitcoin. Well, what was it doing? What was it doing moving sideways with Bitcoin during this time? Well, we know that during this time, Bitcoin temporarily dropped, right? I mean, it dropped back down. And if you look at the USD valuation at the time, you'll see what I mean. So here we are. Ethereum rallied on up early 2017, and then we had some of these candles, and it's kind of hard to see them because we're all the way down here. But you can see that Ethereum also had a pullback as well. From this short-term peak down, it was about a 22-23% correction. So once Bitcoin corrected in the short term, Ethereum corrected as well. But this is the important part. But it didn't matter over the next few months, right? Because Bitcoin was still well above the 20-week moving average. It was still very much bullish. And from that point, Ethereum continued its run. And then that's what led to this amazing Ethereum gain against Bitcoin. Do we expect an Ethereum gain against Bitcoin this cycle? No, we don't. Not to this degree. Do we expect a gain? Yes. But we certainly do not expect an 1,800, 1,900% move, depending on exactly where you measure it from. So I don't think we're going to see a 2,000% move against Bitcoin or anything like that. Or sorry, this was actually the 2016 one. This was the 2017 one right here. And from the bottom of the candle to the top of this candle, it was around a 600% move. So I don't necessarily think we'll see a 600% move either. I mean, to give you an idea, if we were to see a 600% move, which I don't think we would, not in the short term, over the entire market cycle, sure, but over the short term, a 600% move, I mean, it would be a ridiculous. It would be a ridiculous value. I mean, it would put the value of Ethereum at basically 0.2. And if Bitcoin's at 20K and I mean, you know that point 0.1 would be 2,000, so that would theoretically put Ethereum at a $4,000 ether. So that's not happening in the short term, most likely. But I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of how insane it was last market cycle. Like that's how insane it was because all the numbers, right? They're just absolutes. It doesn't matter if you go from $1 to $10 or $10 to 100. It's still a 10x. Or 100 to 1,000 is a 10x. 1,000 to 10,000. It's the same thing. So we've said, right? We've said many, many times that Ethereum at 235 was in the accumulation phase of a lifetime. And then we said at like 380 or something, I don't remember exactly what it was, the reaccumulation phase of a lifetime. And essentially noting this pretty similar pattern of Bitcoin to Ethereum. If you look at the bull market support band, by the way, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. I'm happy everyone's joining. These are exciting times for sure. But I will tell you this. These are exciting times, and there's a lot of money to be made. But anyone who sells at any stage during the altcoin bubble, if you publicize that to the general public, they will most likely call you, short-sighted or whatever it might be, and say like, why would you do that? It's going to continue going up. But in hindsight, you'll be considered, clairvoyant. Like, oh, how did you know? Right? And it's not. It's just saying, you know what? Like, take profits along the way. And again, it's not an all-in or all-out approach. You could sell the same percentage at various levels. You could sell an increasing percentage at various levels, which is what I do. You could scale it exponentially if you want to be very risky. However you want to do it. You can also just hold for the next several years and see what happens. But when during the last cycle, a lot of coins were flying, right? I mean, you had Ethereum going to 1,400, and I remember a lot of people back when Ethereum was like a few dollars, people were putting out these like price predictions of $100, and those people that were putting out those price predictions were just getting like completely bashed by a lot of people, saying like, oh, you're just a moon boy, Ethereum's never going to $100, like there's no way that's going to happen. And then it went to 1,400. So like don't so I guess what I'm trying to say is when the time comes for you to take profits, like I would say stick to whatever strategy you're using, because if you don't, what will happen most likely is you'll watch a bubble come and go. And that's the worst feeling in the world, right? It's the worst feeling in the world to watch something like this, to watch a bubble form like this, and to find yourself all the way over here looking back in disgust, right, at the poor management of it. Because it's all fun and games on the way up. It's all fun and games. It seems like you could just, like, if you put like a if you just put like, say, 10,000 sticky notes on the wall, and every sticky note had the different name of an altcoin, and you just like threw a dart at the wall and then bought whatever altcoin it was, there was a good chance it was pumping that cycle, right? It was basically all fun and games until one morning you wake up and the party's over and it's not coming back in the short term, and that's what's scary. So just consider that, because last cycle I remember when there were people that were selling ether at $1,000, and people were laughing at those people selling at $1,000, because then it went to 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, and 1,400. They're not laughing anymore, right? I mean, after a few more weeks, they weren't laughing. So I think people have this way of only considering it a successful trade if you identically sell the top, and anything that comes short of that was not successful. This is how a lot of people, in my opinion, think about it. And it's not. I mean, it's just what I've seen and experienced in the market, right? So during the bubble, people have that mentality of, if you're not identically selling the top, then it was a failure, right? You were short-sighted. You were just spreading FUD, or whatever it might be. But then you just give it a few more weeks and you look back, and if you were taking profits, say in Bitcoin, let's say you took profits at 16 or 17,000 in this area, then people say, oh, up here you were silly to sell back there, and they're not saying it any longer. Well, maybe they're saying it now that we're back above that level, but so it's all don't consider the peak as the measure as to whether it was a good trade or not, right? Consider, what did you buy the asset for, and are you selling it a lot higher than you bought it? And if you can continue to do that time and time again through every altcoin bubble, through every Bitcoin bubble, through other asset class bubbles, whatever it might be, like at least that way you're constantly like securing profits and you're not watching bubbles come and go. And there were a lot of people that watched the one in 2019 come and go. The one that took us to 14K. So just be cognizant of that. I don't want to say that, I mean, obviously the Bitcoin bubble could push higher. I don't know exactly where, but it could push higher. So just take this into consideration. So if you do, I'm not saying like sell everything, right? I'm not saying sell anything. This is not financial advice. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. But just whatever you do, be able to imagine future scenarios that could play out, right? In the cryptoverse, if the cryptoverse exists within the multiverse, there's one cryptoverse scenario where Bitcoin rallies on up to 25K and then comes back down. There's one where it drops from here, goes all the way back down to 13K, and then continues on. There might be one where it rallies higher and does something like that. And really think about each one of these scenarios and how you would feel if, based on what actions you might take, like how would you feel? Like if it did something like this, would you feel okay? If you would, that's fine. If it did something like this, would you be okay taking profits with the idea that you would also take profits later? So just consider the different future scenarios, and as long as you can envision those scenarios and be happy with the decision you're making now, there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're here for the long haul and you're not selling Bitcoin until 2 or 3 years from now, there's nothing wrong with that either, right? It's completely fine. Everyone has their own risk tolerance. Everyone has their own goals. If you're looking to, spend money on a house, whatever it might be, taking profits in bubbles can be a good way to go about doing it. So that just gives you my thoughts on Bitcoin. Now, the reason we talked about this, right, is we said in a previous video that if you are taking profits, right, of Bitcoin, that doesn't mean you have to take them to USD. It doesn't mean you have to take them to stablecoins. You can take them to Ethereum. You can take them to altcoins. As you guys very well know, I have been talking about this for a long time. I mean, so much in fact that I imagine I've annoyed at least half of you in how frequently I talk about it. But again, the general idea is that this Ethereum Bitcoin valuation will turn around at some point. And when it does, the altcoins are dead phase, not that Ethereum's an altcoin, but the altcoins are dead phase will be a thing of the past again, and we'll re-enter into the phase of why ever hold Bitcoin when all the altcoins outperform it. You guys know why we hold Bitcoin, right? You know why. You see it. You just saw it go up like 2x in a relatively short period of time and leave most of the rest of the altcoin market sitting still. So you know why it exists. And then if you are, let's say you have a high risk tolerance on Bitcoin and you have no intention of taking any Bitcoin profits, but let's say your goal is to increase your Bitcoin, because if you operate somewhat deterministically and think that Bitcoin has to go to 100K and you want as many Bitcoin as you can, because if you say have 10 Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes to 100K, then you have $1 million. So if you have the strategy of, say, stacking sats, so to speak, and just accumulating more Bitcoin, then if there are altcoin pumps, right? If Ethereum or whatever, I mean, not that Ethereum's an altcoin, but if these other coins start pumping, you could consider taking it out to Bitcoin. But again, it depends on what your Bitcoin risk tolerance is. And it will depend on what Bitcoin does during this. So, but this is just one way to think about doing it, because if you think about in terms of altcoin bubbles, in prior altcoin bubbles with, say, like the Chainlink bubble and then the Ethereum bubble this past summer, I was mainly putting profits back into Bitcoin. It wasn't just because I thought Bitcoin would go up. It was because I also knew that whenever the market corrects, you would rather be in Bitcoin. right? If you figure out like, okay, I need this amount of exposure to the cryptocurrency asset class, like if you need this amount of exposure and you don't want to go out to stable coins or fiat, and you want to stay within crypto, then taking profits from altcoins or Ethereum into Bitcoin when these coins pump is one way to try to protect that wealth that you experience with the altcoin, right? So you ride the altcoin bubble up. You can systematically take profits either out to Bitcoin, depending on your risk tolerance, or out to fiat if you want to secure the profits. That way, if a dump comes, if you put it in Bitcoin, at least Bitcoin won't it likely won't dump as hard as the other coins, so you gain some Bitcoin that you can then redeploy later. Or if you put it in fiat and then a dump comes, that's even better because at least it's protected, and then you can just buy back in for a lower price. So again, and on this channel, there is no such thing as an all-in or an all-out approach, right? I will say that endlessly. The idea of going all in on any specific coin or all out on any specific coin during this phase of the market cycle is, in my opinion, it's a little bit short-sighted, because you have to recognize, in the same way we don't know where the bottom is, we don't really know where the top is either. And it is irresponsible if you, in my opinion, right? Not financial advice, but it is somewhat irresponsible if you've been holding altcoins for a long time and then you sell all of them the minute they pump, right? If you sell all of them, then it's like, well, the time value of the money that you lost over those several years was a lot, right? I mean, if you were investing in some of these altcoins for the last 3 years, you lost a lot of time value in that money, because if you had just put that money in stocks back in 2018, you would have done way better than having had it in most of the altcoins. Not all of them, but most of them. And that's why it's important to always consider the time value of your money. You don't just want to throw money into an asset that's just constantly bleeding in the hopes of trying to catch a falling knife. You want to time these momentum shifts in the market. So with that said, I know we called this video Revenge of the Alts, Revenge of the Altcoins. There's no guarantee they're going to continue, right? There's a decent chance this continues. And I think the way that it would most likely continue is if Bitcoin gets comfy at this level. Because, I mean, altcoin surges can last several weeks, right? They don't have to just last a couple days, because at the end of the day, this is nothing, right? I mean, Ethereum going to 543 is still not that significant. So, yeah, this is nice. This is a weekly candle. We could have another weekly candle that takes us right back down, okay? But what we want, in order for this altcoin surge to really continue, we want Bitcoin to get cozy in this area. I mean, it could, as long as it's not, I mean, plus or minus 5% or so, it's fine. If Bitcoin gets cozy, then I think these coins are probably gonna do quite well in the short term. And so that's just something to keep in mind. So remember to, if you guys like the content, remember to give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. My goal was to make it to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but now I think we can make it to 60,000 or even 70,000. But maybe I'm just buying into the FOMO of the subscriber count, which maybe I should dollar cost average sell some of those. But anyways, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. We're going to go through a few different altcoins. Okay, so we're going to look at a few different altcoins. I'll tell you the ones we're going to look at, so you don't have to constantly remind me in the chat. We're going to look at Link, ADA, DOT, Litecoin, XRP, VeChain, and maybe that's it. We'll see if we get to the end of it if we want to talk about a few more. But those are the main 6 we're going to talk about in this live stream. So buckle up. If you have questions about them, please just wait until we get to them so I can actually give you my thoughts on them rather than going down that route. So I will remind you guys too that we do have the premium list. So if you guys want to check it out, we are having a Black Friday sale, and I basically have all the strategies that I use in navigating these markets in there. it's in the description below. I'll put it in the comments as well. It's a Black Friday sale on the premium list. You can get in for like 20% less than normal, and you can lock in that monthly rate. You get access to weekly reports, weekly videos, only for the premium list. The trading view indicators, so if you guys like these trading view indicators, you'll get access to those. You'll also get access to the alerts channel on Telegram, the private Telegram chat room, and the risk dashboard, and a dynamic DCA selling dashboard. So you can put in like how much Bitcoin or Ethereum you have, put in a projected peak, and then from there it will tell you various strategies and what the potential cost is of being too risky. So there's no free lunch, right? There's always a risk involved. And yeah, you guys can sign up for make sure you do the Black Friday, because if you just go to intothecryptoverse.com, it's the higher price. So find the Black Friday link in the description below. We'll have the promotion going for a couple weeks. And if you want to pay yearly at the Black Friday price, then you need to go through patreon.com/intothecryptoverse, which is also in the description below. The last thing before we get into the altcoins, the last thing we did to segue into Bitcoin and Ethereum, the last thing I just want to remind you of is we do have a Telegram channel with over 8,000 people. So if you guys are looking for a community during these crazy times and want ideas of bouncing ideas off of people, then you can check that out. So let's go ahead and jump in. We've talked about Bitcoin, we've talked about Ethereum, and the last thing I'll say about Ethereum is this is that move we witnessed with Bitcoin, right? The move up above the bull market support band, sideways into it, up, sideways, down, hugging it as we go up, and then Bitcoin rallied. Okay, so keep this one in your mind. Looking at Ethereum, same thing, right? Exact same thing. Up above the band, sideways into it, up, sideways, down, held at a support, came up. This is where we are. This is where Bitcoin went. This is where Ethereum is. This is where Bitcoin went. I just want you guys to recognize, I mean, so from this top, from the top of this candle to where Bitcoin currently is, it was a 55% rally. For Ethereum, a 55% rally from that point. Let me just figure out where it would be. A 55% rally would take it to a modest 677. A modest 677, right? A humble 677. So that would be if it were the same type of move. However, do we hold Ethereum because we want to slightly underperform Bitcoin? Is that why we hold it? No, it is not. That's not why we hold Ethereum. The reason we hold Ethereum is because, historically speaking, it outperforms Bitcoin, right? Again, if it's not going to outperform Bitcoin, why hold it? Because you're taking on more risk, more volatility for something that's ultimately going to yield you a lower ROI. And at the end of the day, if you're taking on that higher risk, you expect a higher return. And if you find yourself investing in something that's very volatile and it's ultimately yielding you lower returns had you just invested in Bitcoin, then what the hell are you doing, right? What the hell are you doing? So this is what we're going to follow, right? We're going to follow this move, as I said before, Ethereum, when it was at 235, accumulation phase of a lifetime, right? Accumulation phase of a lifetime, reaccumulation phase of a lifetime. We said it on the channel. Here we are. Ethereum is almost at 550. It's at 546. To some degree, we're still playing in the sandbox. Okay, we're little kids playing in the sandbox. Again, we're as Allen Iverson would say, we're talking about practice. We're not talking about the game here. An Ethereum at 550 within the grand scheme of the market cycle is, to some degree, in my opinion, it's playing in the sandbox. Now, if Bitcoin were to correct and Ethereum were to correct, then people might say, oh, well, it wasn't really playing in the sandbox. It still is playing in the sandbox, right? I mean, it's still in the grand scheme of the market cycle. It's playing in the sandbox like little kids because this is not what we're here for, right? We're not here for this. We're here for Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin. And that's, this is the move, like, right? This is the move we want to see. think that's the move we want to see. As you guys know, historically speaking, it doesn't happen until Q1. A couple of years, the move has happened in mid-December. As I've said on this channel many times, December historically has been a great time to buy Ethereum with Bitcoin, but in general, Q4, right? Don't try to get too cute and time the bottom. Just, as I've said, just DDCA the sells, dynamic DCA the sells, and hopefully the momentum shift will come. And if it does do something like this and it rallies up like that, you'll look back on it and say, oh yeah, I didn't time the bottom there. That sell didn't time the bottom, but you know what? I had one sell that got pretty darn close. So that's the idea. So then let's jump into some of the altcoins. Remember, if you guys like the content, to subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up, right? Good video, thumbs up. We have 1,900 people viewing and less than 400 likes. So the viewer to like ratio is pretty abysmal. That's like twice the Ethereum dominance in terms of percentage, but I think we can get it. I think we can get it higher than that. So let's look at Link. We'll look at Link first. Link's at 1517. And one of the things we've talked about many times with Link is that it has never lived through a bull market, right? And I should probably switch this over to a different one because this one doesn't have prices that go back. Let's switch it over to Binance. So this one does not have a history within a bull market. Okay, it just simply does not. And it was launched at the end of 2017. And during that move, Link went parabolic, right? Link went parabolic. This was also when Bitcoin was above the 20-week moving average, okay? And then in April of 2019, Link went parabolic right after Bitcoin got above the 20-week, right after it. And then here, it went parabolic again, right after Bitcoin got above the 20-week. But wait a second. What's going on, right? Why it came back down. It's continuing on up. What's going on? Bitcoin hasn't dropped below the 20-week, right? We've said this before. We simply do not know what Link is capable of in a bull market. We just don't know. And this is why I've always said, in my opinion, and it's not financial advice, it is too risky not to hold Link. It's too risky. And I don't just say that as some emotional investor. If you calculate out your risk-adjusted returns using either the Sharpe ratio or the Sortino ratio, the Sharpe ratio punishes negative and positive volatility. The Sortino ratio punishes just negative volatility. If you calculate out either one for Chainlink and Bitcoin, including Link in a portfolio with Bitcoin and, say, Ethereum, improves your risk-adjusted returns. So when I say it's too risky not to hold it, I'm not just saying it because I want you guys to, FOMO into Link, right? I'm saying it because that is what the data suggests, and this type of data, historically speaking, is what a lot of traditional finance people will use. They'll look at Sharpe ratios, they'll look at modern portfolio theory and the efficient frontier. Link, as I've said, is too risky not to hold, in my opinion. There's no free lunch. It doesn't mean it's going to go any higher than $15.13, but I think, well, now it's at $15.15. So you guys get the idea. The Link Bitcoin valuation is a sight to behold. And as we've said so many times on the channel, how can you look at this and not want to get a ticket, right? How do you not want to get a ticket to that train ride? Because this is probably one of the most bullish trends in the crypto space. Probably one of the most bullish trends in the crypto space. And it's the same thing every time, right? It's not exactly going up at that rate, but I mean, you can see more or less, right? It's the same damn thing every single time. You have a bubble, and people FOMO, and they scream, this is the new normal. It's going up, and it doesn't. It comes back down. You have another bubble. They scream the same thing. It comes back down. Another bubble, the same thing, and you keep coming here, and we keep coming back down to the same level every single time. And I've showed before, there's a video I have where I show the exponential fit of Link Bitcoin, and we are in theoretically the reaccumulation range. Now, I'm not buying Link at $15. I bought all that I wanted at $7 and $8 a few weeks ago. And basically what I do is I wait for the link Bitcoin risk to get to a certain level, which basically you can see it. I mean, you can see it on this chart, even though I don't have the actual custom chart that I normally show. But you can essentially see where it is, right? I mean, it's not like it's not rocket science, right? It's just data science or whatever. I mean, so you can see the general turnaround point. I also wait for the link USD risk get to a certain level, and right now it's a little bit it's overblown in my opinion. But with that said, I think Link could easily rally from here. I'm happy with my position. If you're not happy with your position and you have a lot of Bitcoin and you were looking to take profits of Bitcoin, you might consider Link. Just a consideration, not financial advice. Just something to scratch your head about, do your own research on, figure out if it's worth it to you. If it's not, then that's completely fine. Just ignore Link, and maybe we'll see you guys in the next bubble. But yeah, as I said before, it's too risky not to have. The reason why I would not buy it now is because the Link USD valuation risk is higher than I'm comfortable coming in at. And there were 2 times over the last 3 months or so where it reached the 0.5 risk level, and it was on this wick right here, and it was on the next wick. I think it was the next week. No, I think it maybe was 2 weeks later, because it actually happened at around 8:46 or so. Remember, all of the stuff that I'm doing you can find on the premium list, and if you want access to that, there's the Black Friday link, which you can find a link to in the description below. That will close up in 2 weeks, and it'll go back to the higher price. So, and there's a lot of people, I'm not just saying this, right? There's a lot of people that can vouch on the premium list that I sold I was completely out of Link. Not completely out, I had 1/3 of my position, but I was out 2/3 of my position by 1850. I missed the top, and then I bought back in at 7 and 8. So it's just looking at the data and looking at these trends here. And the Link Bitcoin bubble has hit 1.00 risk 3 times. This was one, this was another, and then there was another one back here, I believe. Or maybe it was this one, right? It was that one right there. So there's been 3 times that happened, and we're going to be here for hopefully the 4th, right? Hopefully it hits it for a 4th time. Now, if the Link Bitcoin valuation were to go, if it were to continue this trend and come back up, right? If it were to come back up and do something crazy, the valuation of Link against Bitcoin will hopefully go up. But the nice thing is Link has never experienced the bull market. So some of the times in the past, maybe the Link Bitcoin valuation was going up, but the Bitcoin valuation had gone down. So yeah, the Link Bitcoin went up, but maybe Link USD didn't go up by as much. The nice thing this time is if we are able to see a Link Bitcoin valuation come back up, now we're comparing a new valuation against a Bitcoin valuation that's like twice as high as it was at the last peak. So it can even be a crazier run, theoretically speaking. But to some degree, there's still a lot of uncertainty because, as I've said, we have no idea what Link can do during a bull market. But I sure as hell would not want to at least grab a ticket for this show. So we'll see what happens. We'll follow it every step of the way. Remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up if you guys like the content. So that covers Chainlink. The next one I want to cover is Polkadot. So Polkadot is a coin I've talked about on the channel a few times, and as I've said before, this is a coin that I think is worth having for the market cycle, and that this is more or less an accumulation phase, in my opinion. And if you look at the, I'm going to go ahead and switch off of Link Bitcoin since we don't need it anymore. We already went through it. We're going to switch over to Polkadot Bitcoin. You look at this trend and you say, wow, what a nasty trend, right? What a nasty trend. This is when it launched. It went sort of parabolic in the short term, and then it's been coming all the way back down. Is this normal? Yes, it's very normal. What did we say before? Every market cycle, it seems like there's a few coins that come out at the perfect time. At the perfect time, they launch right at the beginning of a bull market. The downside of launching the one downside of launching exactly when Bitcoin moves is that the valuation of that coin will go down in Bitcoin. But the nice thing is if Bitcoin is bullish, then this coin can actually hold very reasonable levels, right? If we were in a bear market, I anticipate DOT would have fallen a lot further than $3 or $4 or so. But because Bitcoin has remained bullish, DOT was able to print this, what I would consider a theoretical reaccumulation, or not reaccumulation. How can you say it's a reaccumulation if this is the little first accumulation zone? This is the first, in my opinion, accumulation zone of DOT against USD. It bled against Bitcoin, but so what, right? So what? That's exactly what Ethereum did last cycle too. Look at Ethereum when it first launched. Look at this bleed. Let's just take it from this candle here. We come down 87%. This though is probably not real because it just hit the exchange. So let's take it from here, a more reasonable value. It dropped 60% or so against Bitcoin before pumping 1,600%. And it didn't pump until this was different because at this time Bitcoin was just getting above the 20-week, right? Bitcoin was just getting above the 20-week. Now, when you look at DOT, it is dumped during this Bitcoin move substantially from the top of the candle down to the current level, or down to the bottom. It went down about 55%, pretty similar to Ethereum when Ethereum first launched. And it did not preclude Ethereum from completely turning the tide, completely changing its course, and completely changing the trend. So it's just something to consider. Again, it's not financial advice, but DOT is one that I want people to know that we are going to track this market cycle. The only reason I don't put out a video on it every other day like I do with most other coins is just because there's not a whole lot of data on it. And there's not a whole lot to say, but maybe we're getting to the point where we might have a few things to say because we're starting to see trends that are similar to prior token launches, or the Ethereum launch. We're seeing similarities between them. Again, this could be a false breakout. There's always that possibility. The main thing that would cause this to be false is if Bitcoin just absolutely kicks the bucket. And it comes up here and then it says just kidding, and comes back down, right? If it did something like that, then you can probably say goodbye to most altcoin gains against Bitcoin in the short term. Okay, if Bitcoin slowly bleeds, something like this, yeah, altcoins will rally. If Bitcoin all of a sudden prints a weekly candle going up another $2,000 or something, most altcoins will bleed against Bitcoin again. So just something to consider. So that covers Polkadot, and the next one we want to look at is Cardano. So we'll take a look at Cardano. So this one has bled heavily against Bitcoin from the peak. Down here, we said this is the accumulation phase for ADA against Bitcoin. We came all the way up. We've bled back down into this accumulation zone, right? We've bled back down into it, despite the fact that the USD accumulation zone of ADA used to be less than 10 cents, right? If you guys, how many of you guys remember my old Cardano videos where last year where I would say, hey guys, I'm buying ADA up to 10 cents. It's like 2 cents now. It's 3 cents now. Buying it up to 10 cents because that's the 0.4 risk level. I don't feel comfortable going above 10 cents. Now the 0.4 risk level is a lot higher than 10 cents. But you can see the ADA Bitcoin valuation has fallen back into this accumulation zone. And that's important because the reason it fell is not because ADA dropped by 60% or 80% against USD. It fell simply because ADA dropped against Bitcoin because Bitcoin rallied. So that is the main thing that I want to highlight there. The next thing I want to talk about is ADA Ether. So we'll take a look at. Sorry, I haven't even looked at the chat at all, but yeah. So again, ADA right now, if you don't own any and you're looking for a hedge against Ethereum or anything like that, you can always pick up a small stack. In my opinion, I would hold a lot more Ether than ADA because I consider ADA to just be a hedge against Ethereum. But if you're looking for a hedge, you want something that's even more volatile than Ethereum. then you could pick ADA. And one of the things with ADA, as we've noted before, is that it tends to decrease in terms of its valuation against Ethereum over the macro scale, but the local tops seem to be around the same ADA Ether valuation. So this is what we're ultimately looking for. You can see we have this one green candle now. For the most part, it has been bleeding. We had this pump here as well, but it has been bleeding. Imagine if Ether were to pump to like $600, $700, and if ADA doesn't follow along, ADA USD could stay constant, and then ADA Ether could still drop. So that's a consideration. Or maybe this is the turnaround point, right? Maybe this is the turnaround point. I do own ADA. As you guys know, I accumulated most of it last year below 10 cents. Between like 2 cents and 10 cents, I was accumulating that. So I have the position there. If ADA is not your thing, that's fine. You can, there's other altcoins that we've talked about before on the channel as well. One of them being VeChain. And I know a lot of you guys, let me know in the chat how many of you guys are interested in VeChain. I know a lot of you are, just talking with you guys. But, VeChain has a pretty interesting metric against Ether as well, like a pretty interesting valuation. It also seems to have these local peaks at the same area. It also has these local lows at the same area as well, and we're essentially flirting with that level now. So if you do end up, say, taking profits in Ether at some point, and you see the altcoin valuations of, say, VeChain or ADA near their global lows, then that could be a potential place to take profits too, right? You could take them from Ether to that altcoin you've been eyeing, right? Or you could take it to USD if you want to get out of the market. But I would just say, whenever you do take profits on Ether, if you take profits on Ether and you want to remain in the market, and if Bitcoin's too risky for you, you can just go around at some of the altcoins that we've talked about, or maybe there's something that you're looking at, and if you see it at a historical turnaround point, then it might be a way to reduce the risk of your portfolio. So XRP. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content, and give the video a thumbs up. Maybe we can get to 60,000 subscribers in the next week or so. Yeah, we're currently at 52,964. Maybe we can at least get to 53,000 subs. So XRP, you guys know my feelings on XRP, right? Historically speaking, it does not make a major move until Bitcoin gets to its prior all-time high. Okay, and as we said, I think we did a live stream maybe 2 days ago, and said this could be the global or the local bottom for XRP. It could be. And what I anticipate what's going on right now is people look back at this and say, you know what, the last time Bitcoin got to its prior all-time high, XRP pumped. So there's probably people coming in and trying to front run that, right? It's a risk. And if you're okay taking that risk, it could pay off. But there's no free lunch, and there is a chance, as always, that Bitcoin does not make it to the prior all-time high and then corrects, which would probably be not good for the XRP Bitcoin valuation. So again, you just have to figure out if it's worth the risk or not. I've made several XRP videos on the channel. If you guys go back and look, I think I made a video back over here. We made a video here somewhere. I made one a few weeks ago as well. And generally speaking, every single XRP video, I told you guys, over the macro scale, Bitcoin will likely outperform XRP until Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high. Okay? And I still think there is a chance that Bitcoin could still outperform XRP, but you also have to consider that with Bitcoin now a stone throw from the prior all-time high, I mean literally a stone throw, it's at 18.7. And the prior all-time high is not even 20K, right? It's less than 20K. It didn't really make it to 20K. This could be, I'm just saying it could be, I don't know if it is, it could be the beginning of a momentum shift for XRP. And you guys know I don't say that lightly, right? I do not say that lightly because I've pretty much bashed on XRP's valuation against Bitcoin for the last year or so, right? For the last year, from as measured from the candle, even at the current price, it's still down 87% against Bitcoin. So I still contend that holding Bitcoin for the last 3 years was way better than holding XRP. But this move here, in my opinion, is probably people trying to front run the idea that this is the time that Bitcoin will get to a sustainable 20K. And if it is, then they got in at the local low. If it's not, and Bitcoin comes back down, if it does something like that and Bitcoin comes back down, then this will likely continue a macro bleed. So it depends on the risk, right? It depends on the risk you're willing to take. Is the risk as high as it was as it used to be? It's not. It's just simply not. If you hate XRP, you can continue hating it all you want. The risk is not as bad as it used to be when Bitcoin was at 6K and 7K and 8K and 10K and 12K, 14K, 16K. The risk was a lot higher because Bitcoin was still pretty far from the prior all-time high. Now it's not. Times have changed. It's 10%, right? 10% away. So my interpretation of this move, right? My interpretation of this move is that it's people trying to front run the idea that Bitcoin will hold 20K and continue on. That's my interpretation of it. We'll see what happens, right? We will see what happens. We've had moves like this before. We've had plenty of them, right? We've had pumps. You can see several of them, and every time it was, oh, this is the major pump, and it wasn't. It hasn't been for a while now. So you need to consider the possibility that it's still macro down. If Bitcoin does not sustain these levels and move higher over the next few months, then it's most likely macro down. Okay, maybe short term up, macro down. If Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high and holds it and continues on up, you're probably looking at a decent momentum shift in XRP against Bitcoin. I don't say it lightly. I've been completely out of XRP for a long time, but I just want you guys to consider that we're getting to the point where you could argue that it might be the local low. Whereas before, all the other videos I made on XRP, I always said I don't think this is the local low. I think we're going lower. This is the first video I've put out on XRP that I've said it's not as risky as it used to be. But I still contend that if Bitcoin again does not get to the prior all-time high and then corrects sharply, then for XRP it's still macro down, right? And that's what you want to be careful of. If you're okay with that, I'm not clairvoyant. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what's going to happen. I'm just telling you the risks associated with it. The risks are not as high as they used to be, but it still exists. And personally, right, I would prefer to see Bitcoin over 20K before jumping into something like this, right? And I don't even care if I miss out on a short-term move at the bottom, because if Bitcoin goes to 20K, there's a good chance that XRP might, in the short term, bleed again and then continue on up, right? And so I would personally prefer to just simply wait until Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high before even considering this. And ultimately speaking, right, if XRP does something like this, and then maybe if it does rally or something, and I end up converting Bitcoin, a little bit of Bitcoin to XRP at this level, I don't really care if I miss that, right? I don't really want to try to catch a falling knife, because if I try to do it for the last several years, right, you say, oh, it's a new shift, and then you get to the top of this hill and you keep going down, and then you get to the top of this hill and then you keep going down, right? So just consider that possibility. And then the last thing, the last coin that I mentioned before I get into specific questions will be Litecoin Bitcoin. So Litecoin Bitcoin, same exact thing as XRP, right? Same exact thing. Let's pull it up on an exchange that has more data. Macro down, historically speaking, until Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high. And I anticipate that this move here, this candle, this weekly candle, it's just simply people front-running the idea that Bitcoin's about to get to its prior all-time high. Because if you go back and look, 2017, the move for Litecoin came in mid-March. That's when it started. And mid-March, Bitcoin had already tested the all-time high once. It had then gone above the all-time high. That's when Litecoin made the move. Not before it, but while it was happening. And so I imagine that this candle you see here, just like for XRP, it's simply people trying to front run this move, and they're saying, you know what, I understand that Bitcoin might come back down. If it does, I'm going to pay the price because Litecoin will likely bleed against Bitcoin. But if it doesn't, then they got in at the local bottom, right? If it doesn't, then they got in at the local bottom. It's a calculated risk. You have to figure out if it's worth taking. It would certainly be if you want to talk about it in terms of risk, it would be less risky, in my opinion, if you waited until Bitcoin got to the prior all-time high. So if you wait until Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high, then I feel like it would be less risky. However, again, as I said, if you just simply are, if you're taking, let's suppose you're taking Bitcoin profits and you just don't know where to put it, and you want to put it in, say, some of these coins that pump when Bitcoin does get to the prior all-time high, I can understand the reasoning now. I can understand the speculation now for doing it. Before I could not, but I can at least understand why, and I can say, even though I'm not doing it, I can certainly respect the decision of saying, you know what, we're gonna try to front run this move before the rest of the market hears about it. So again, I'm not doing it. I would prefer to see Bitcoin at the prior all-time high. If it means I miss out, then I will wish all of you a great journey on up. And I'm pretty happy right now with my positions in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, ADA, and Polkadot. But the thing that would cause me to buy XRP and Litecoin, potentially, I don't want to say a sure thing because there's no such thing as a sure thing for me when it comes to XRP and Litecoin. But the thing that would need to happen for me to get in, as I said before, would be Bitcoin going above its prior all-time high. And if it does, and this rally continues on up and I get in here as opposed to here, so be it, right? I'm helping you guys secure a little bit more of a gain because I'm coming in later than you. But if Bitcoin fails to get to the prior all-time high and it continues to come down, or one possibility is that Bitcoin makes a strong push above the prior all-time high. Like, what if Bitcoin all of a sudden in a week pushes past 20K and goes to 25K? If it were to do something like that very quickly, and if it were super volatile and did it really quickly, this could still bleed. And it doesn't mean that Litecoin would bleed against USD, but what it does mean is that those who waited might actually get more Litecoin because Bitcoin outperformed it. Not because not in terms of buying it with USD, but if they're converting, say, the Bitcoin to the Litecoin or the Bitcoin to XRP, and the Bitcoin rally continues, and they might get more. So again, it's a calculated risk. I can completely understand why people are trying to front run it now. It could work out for you, and this could be the local bottom. But I'm personally, as I said before, I would prefer to wait until Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high. So with that said, we have gone through Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, ADA, Polkadot, VeChain, Litecoin, and XRP. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're not done. We'll still stay on the stream for a while longer. But remember, if you guys do enjoy the stream, to subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 50. Let's try to get to 53,000 subscribers, and let's try to get to 1,000 likes. And I will remind you, if you guys want access to the premium list, we are having the Black Friday sale. It will last for about another week and a half at this point. I said it would last about 2 weeks a few days ago, so it'll last another week and a half or so. You can find that in the description below, and I'll also put it in the chat. So check it out. You get access to the weekly reports, the weekly videos, the alerts channel on Telegram, the private Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, and then the TradingView indicators. So I think you get a lot of value, and there's actually a pretty nice community there as well. I imagine a lot of the community on the premium chat are actually watching this stream right now, because I cross-posted this video to that chat. So Let me know what questions you guys have. We'll see what happens with Ethereum, and we'll briefly check in on some of the other coins. I'll try to answer your guys' questions. Maybe because Bitcoin is now getting to the prior all-time high, I'll take a look at a few other altcoins. But let me know what questions you guys have. Make sure you subscribe, and let me take a look at the chat. So the chat is going pretty crazy. Yeah, guys, you can buy the monthly subscription for 1 month, right? You can buy it for 1 month and then cancel. If you want to control the subscription on your own, you should sign up at patreon.com/intothecryptoverse. If you want to cancel by the website, you can easily do that. You just have to message me and I'll cancel it for you. I recommend people sign up using the website because it's cheaper actually. Because Patreon will like charge you some fees and stuff, especially if you live in like Europe. They'll charge you some fees that you won't get charged on the website. So I would encourage you to go the website route. But yeah, you can definitely sign up for just 1 month. And the nice thing is you'll unlock all the prior content as well. So you can sign up for 1 month, get access to all the prior content, which is like half a year since January. So 11 months of prior content, and then you can always cancel if it's not your thing. We do also have the lifetime membership as well that I talk about every few weeks. So I know some people we have a few people who have done the lifetime membership, so that's an option as well. And if you want to do that, you can just reach out to me. All right, what do you guys want to talk about? Matt Bradley says, if Bitcoin were to maintain this price range, where do you see the Ethereum USD topping in Q1? I put out a video on this a while back. It was called like Ethereum mid-market cycle price prediction or something. I think. I do think a shot at a few $100s higher is certainly on the cards. I think a shot at $1,000, it could be on the cards. As crazy as it sounds, if Bitcoin can hold this level, I think 1K is on the cards. But that's a big if, right? It's a big if. Can it hold the level, or is it going to fail to hold this level? If it can hold it, I think Ethereum has a bright future ahead for it in over the next few months. If it can't hold it, and Bitcoin retraces, Ethereum could still have a good future. But what could happen is that the Ethereum valuation against USD might come down. Maybe Ethereum Bitcoin would stay the same, and then the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation might rally. But if the valuation of Bitcoin is lower than the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation, say, reaches 0.04, it depends on what the Bitcoin valuation is at the time, right? So let me just, so that I give you guys the exact number. So let's suppose that Bitcoin stays at 19K. Let's say 19K, and it stays at 19K for say 3 months or something, because the question was if it stays at this price level. Let's say 19K. If Ethereum were to reach a valuation of 0.04, that would put Ether at 760. So if Ether were to rally to 0.04, that would put Ether at 760 against Bitcoin. So maybe 760 would be a place if it were to rally higher to, say, the top of the channel, and it were to go, say, 0.054. If Bitcoin were at 19K, that would put it at 1,000. So basically that's where I'm getting it from. So if it rallies back up to the prior local top, maybe around 700 or so, if it continues to the upper part of the channel for the third time this subcycle, right? And Bitcoin holds its current level, then we might be talking about flirting with $1,000 Ether. But again, it depends on a lot of things, right? It depends on Bitcoin staying healthy and not having a major correction or anything like that. Video Gamer says, what is best to hedge with crypto, gold, and silver? Generally speaking, and this is not necessarily a popular thought with crypto people because a lot of people might think like, oh, store value, don't do stocks, do precious metals against fiat, right? Precious metals historically have pretty bad risk-adjusted returns. So if I were to hold precious metals, which I do, if I were to hold, say, a portfolio of several of them, um, I would probably keep it at no more than 5%. For me, it's actually less than 5%, and I primarily own I own some gold, silver, and also I own palladium. I don't know if you guys have heard of palladium before, but I do own some palladium as well. But in general, I would not, if I were to hold like a lot of it, if I were to hold say like 20% of my portfolio in it, I would feel very bad about that because stocks generally outperform. So just something to consider. Mark, if you paid for the subscription, you should get a welcome email in your email, and it'll either go to your spam or promotions tab. Generally, if it's a Gmail account, it'll go to your promotions tab, and it can take up to 20 or 30 minutes to come through. Juan Rodriguez says, "Do you think if Bitcoin goes to 13K, will an alt season follow after that and potential at least $1 on XRP?" No. If Bitcoin were to drop to 13K, then you're essentially putting Bitcoin back at the bull market support band, right? So let's look at this really quick. So the 20-week moving average right now is at around 11,900. So let's just say it's at 12K. The 20-week moving average right now is at 12K. And by the time, if Bitcoin were to dump to 13K, by the time it could theoretically dump to 13K, you probably are looking at a $13,000 20-week moving average. Okay? So if in the event that Bitcoin were to dump to, say, 13K or something, that would probably correspond to trying to hold this level as support. And if that were to happen, then we would want to focus mostly on Bitcoin at that time, not focus on altcoins, because historically speaking, when Bitcoin tests the 20-week moving average after like a substantial drop, not for all of them, there's a good example of Ethereum last cycle moving up when it was testing the 20-week, but it was not after a 60% correction. It was just after like a 20% correction. But if Bitcoin were to drop like 50%, or 20, or like say 45%, 40%, I don't know how high it's going to go, so I'm just speculating. But if it were to drop like 30, 40, 50% in the short term, I think most altcoins, since you asked about XRP, I think XRP would bleed against Bitcoin very heavily. Ethereum might have a chance to perform well, but I think coins like XRP would have hardly any chance to perform well if Bitcoin were to go back to 13K, because it's back at the 20-week moving average. And if it drops below the 20-week moving average, it's the bad news bears for the entire crypto market. Let's get to 1,000 likes. We have 941. And it looks like we made it to 53,000 subscribers. So thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Huh. Guys, remember, the point of the channel is to not chase pumps. The point of the channel is to make calculated decisions like before any major moves happen, right? This is the whole point. Jan says, "What percentage would you DC out of coins? What's your strategy?" My strategy is just for the premium list. I don't want to say it here. I have said it here. I can tell you what it is, but I can't tell you exactly the levels. So basically, what I do for Bitcoin is I split it up into 5 risk bands that span from 0.5 to 0.6, 0.6 to 0.7, 0.7 to 0.8, 0.8 to 0.9, and 0.9 to 1. and I just dynamically DCL at each risk band. So if it gets to the 0.5 to 0.6 risk band, I sell 1/15 of my position. If it gets to the next one, I sell 2/15 of the prior position. The next one 3/15, the next one 4/15, and the final one 5/15. So if it traverses all 5 risk bands, then I ultimately sell all my Bitcoin. It allows me to take profits in the short term, and if Bitcoin at lower risk levels, and if Bitcoin corrects, then I can buy back in. And if it continues to go up, I'm saving the majority of my Bitcoin or whatever coin it is, Ether, Cardano, Link, whatever. I'm saving the majority of it for a higher bubble. So it's a linear selling strategy so that you take some profits during any type of bubble. That way you can reinvest them if the market were to drop. And selling the majority of them after major moves, and these are all based on prior price, time, and volatility. So that's what I do. And if you want access to the actual levels, then you would need to subscribe to the premium list, which I'll put in the comments again as well, or you can find in the description below. High Five says that's too much work, Ben. I mean, you know what? If you said the same thing in 2017 and then you never sold and then look back on it and say, oh yeah, it was too much work, then fine, so be it, right? Just hold forever. Yeah, guys, as I've said before, right? We're not just crypto here. A lot of other channels are just going to talk about crypto. We do talk about stocks and stuff other times. The idea during the crypto bubbles, right? The idea is not to hold through a multi-year bear market. The idea is when it does go up, eventually, when we get to these insane risk levels again, to take profits and protect those profits. And one way you could theoretically do that is by putting it into stocks. Those could be they could theoretically be risky as well, but I mean they do tend to do very well over the long term. They don't tend to have 80 or 90% corrections, right? So get the wealth, protect the wealth, get used to the new normal before just FOMOing into other stuff again. That's my non-financial advice. Yeah, this has been a pretty crazy uptrend for Bitcoin without a correction. That's why I'm cautioning people against the XRP and Litecoin moves, because it could work out and it could work out very well, and maybe you time the local bottom. But what if Bitcoin corrects for a few more weeks and then the ratio continues to bleed, right? So just take that into consideration. The risk metric is something I just created myself. Yeah, you can sort of mirror the trade. I mean, I tell people more or less what I'm doing. I'd say that this is the risk band I'm selling at, and the risk levels and whatnot. Tommy says, when you say that with XRP and Litecoin, does that mean all altcoins? Not necessarily, but if Bitcoin corrects, most coins would correct harder, even Ethereum. But I think coins like Ethereum have a way of bouncing back quicker than coins like XRP and Litecoin would. I mean, for instance, just practically speaking, right? If you look at the Litecoin Bitcoin chart, I want you to, like, where has it come? Let's look to see where it's come since January 1st, 2020. So if you had bought Litecoin with Bitcoin January 1st, so the first week, let's say January 6th, because it's the first year. Since January 6th, Litecoin is down 27% against Bitcoin, 26% against Bitcoin. Okay? 26% against Bitcoin in about 11 months. Ethereum, since that point, January 6th, is up 60%. So Ethereum's up 60% against Bitcoin this year, and Litecoin is down 26%. And XRP, let's take a look at XRP Bitcoin again. Since the beginning of the year, so as measured, say, year to date, if you go to January 6th and you come to the current price, it's down 16%. So XRP and Litecoin are still down against Bitcoin as measured by the beginning of the year. Ethereum is up. Traver, you can get the annual crypto discount on top of the Black Friday sale, but if you want to do that, you just need to contact me directly through the contact page on the website. So you can do that, but you just need to contact me. Are you guys excited to see Ethereum at 543? It wasn't that long ago. It was in the 300s. Roger Hill says you're not going to be able to buy Litecoin for less than $100 much longer. Not with PayPal selling it. But this is not the point right now, is it? It's not the point as to whether you can buy for $100. It's where is it going to be with its valuation against Bitcoin. That's what I think is more important. Sonata is a troll, so I will happily remove you from the channel. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat, but Jan says, "Do you have a data science background?" Yeah, I mean, I have my undergrad was in math and my PhD was in nuclear engineering. Yeah, we already talked Link a lot. Blaze and Mark, we discussed XRP a lot already, so I would just rewind and you can see that. Premiere, I'm glad you like the content. I can barely. I honestly, I keep trying to read the sentences and I can't read them because they're just running by too quickly. Make sure you guys subscribe at the very least and give the video a thumbs up. So I think Ethereum can go beyond the 0.05 valuation on Bitcoin ratio in Q1. It's possible. Yeah, I would say it's possible. But it relies on Bitcoin staying bullish. If Bitcoin stays bullish and chills out and does not make any major moves, and it stays around 20K or so, yeah, I think Ethereum could reach the 0.05 valuation against Bitcoin. To get access to the custom charts, you have to subscribe to the premium list. I'll put the link in the comments as well again. And once you sign up, you should get an email, and you just fill out a form, and then you'll receive access after like a day. Sorry, I'm trying to get through the chat here. Yeah, we've talked about Unisum. Remember, it's one of those ones that will likely pump if like a lot of altcoins go through a major, if they start pumping significantly and continue to do that, then I would anticipate the Uniswap governance token to also continue on up. The reason why I use the Bitcoin valuation over the USD valuation is because the idea is I want exposure to the market, and Bitcoin is the index of the market. I don't really know much about. I don't really follow DigiByte a lot, so I can't really give you too many thoughts on it. All right, Frank, if you want to continue spamming the chat, I will hide you as well. Okay, so we have some people requesting XTZ. Yeah, I mean, XTZ has been a really nasty trend against Ethereum, right? Really nasty trend against Ethereum. So the justification for buying it with Ethereum, I mean, you're trying to catch a falling knife. Yeah, I think Polkadot is a decent project and should do well this cycle. XTZ is Tezos. I don't own Tezos. No, I don't. I'm not a financial advisor, so if you start the question off as a financial advisor, I'm not going to answer it because I'm not one. Digimix says, what's the probability of Bitcoin going down? I sold at 14K. What should I do? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with selling at 14K. As long as you remember, this channel is not about all in or all out. I would never sell anywhere close to all of my Bitcoin at 14K. You can, I mean, if you sold a little bit of it and then you convert it into, say, a different coin, that's fine. But selling, say, all your Bitcoin to USD at such a low risk level does not, in my opinion, make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, if Bitcoin does pass the all-time high, I could see myself getting some exposure to Litecoin and XRP. I could see that, but I'm not gonna try to chase it. I just don't care. It's not worth the risk to me if Bitcoin corrects to hold them, because they would probably bleed pretty badly. So, but I will contend for the first time on the channel that there at least is a reason that I can understand why people are buying it now, is because they're trying to front run the market. But they're taking on a risk and it might not pay off. Someone says, "Hi, should I invest today or 7 days from now?" Um, I have no idea about the short term. No idea. I would not buy Bitcoin right now. No, I would not. If Bitcoin say stayed at 18K for like 6 months or something, then maybe I could see myself buying it at 18K then. But there's no way I would buy Bitcoin at 18K when it was like 10K a few weeks, like a couple months ago. Sorry, I keep yawning. I'm really tired. I've not slept much recently. Juan says he's got to do homework, but he also has got to keep making money. It's a rough life, right? It's a rough life keeping up with all the money you're making. Thanks for the compliment, Chris. I'm glad you enjoy the channel. Joshua says, do you have an opinion on the long-term macro outlook of all fiat currencies? Look, I've told you guys before, I'm not a sensationalist. I'm more pragmatic. I don't think we're going to have some major collapse or anything like that. I think it's more so clickbait for people to tune in and drink the Kool-Aid, that whatever that sensationalist influencer's serving up. I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, I just don't. What's your smallest cap, or what's my smallest cap? I don't talk about. I do own a few like micro cap, but it's like they make up like okay, so they make up like such a small percentage of my portfolio, and I don't want to move any markets on smaller cap coins, so I don't talk about those. But the ones I talk about are take up the majority of my portfolio anyways. But I do think like I think it could be fun for a market cycle if there's like a small project and you kind of know the guys very well that are working on it. There's something nice. There can be something nice about watching a project and being very involved in it and watching it go from like having like 10 people in the community to having like 10,000 people in the community. So yeah, I think there's a reason to potentially put a tiny percentage into a couple of small pet projects if you really kind of believe in their long-term direction. But that doesn't just apply to crypto either. I mean, that could apply to anything in life, right? It could be applied. You could just apply it to a startup, but in this case, it would be somewhat related to cryptocurrency. So there's nothing wrong with that if you want to do it for say like one or two projects or something. But I would not recommend throwing a ton of money at like 1,000 different microcaps, because a lot of them will just simply go to zero, and the opportunity cost of holding them is rather high. Because if we're deterministic about it and suppose that Bitcoin will go up 10x or 30x from the bottom, but let's say Ethereum goes up 10x from here, then the altcoin, the random microcap you're putting it into, needs to hopefully at least outperform that, because if it can't outperform that, then what's the point of holding it? So that's why I say you should, and typically speaking, I would not recommend putting a ton of money into a lot of microcaps, but I can understand the reasonings behind having a tiny percentage in one or two kind of like projects that you're really involved in or something. Hmm. Someone says, how do you find a romantic relationship while being into crypto? Um, well, if Bitcoin goes to 100K in a few years, that might be an attractive quality to say that you're into Bitcoin. What's my plan after this cycle? Well, we'll probably whenever we feel like the cycle is coming to a close, um, we'll probably take a little bit of a break from crypto and focus more on other asset classes. Just because the crypto bull market ends doesn't mean we need to stop making money, right? You want to keep growing the wealth. You don't just want to grow it and then sit on it and watch it bleed away. The idea is to continue growing it. Eric says, "Why should I quit my job in law and do this full time? I never suggested you do anything like that." Other asset classes include like equities, real estate, precious metals, maybe commodities. There's a lot of different. We might also dive into forex a little bit. Look at like USD, Euro, that type of stuff. Video Gamer says, is paying taxes worth it from a risk reward perspective when making less than 50K? There are ways to get exposure to crypto within the confines of an IRA, and you can make those trades tax free. Not financial advice, do your own research, but you can get exposure to some of these cryptocurrencies through an IRA where you can make tax free trades. But there are limits to how much you can put in an IRA in a given year. Josh says, got any general advice from math undergrad? Um, I guess it depends on what type of advice you're looking for. I mean, in relation to what, I guess. Yeah, you guys know my thoughts on links. Sando TV, just you can rewind the video or you can go to the channel and I have tons of videos on Link. I'm pretty bullish on Link. Hmm. Raffle, you said where's the link in the description? It should be in the description of the video, but I'll paste it in the comments as well if you're wanting to join the premium list. All right, guys, are we gonna see a 550 ether? There's a rumor going around that to get to a 550 ether, we have to get to 1,500 likes. I don't know, just a rumor. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the data tells us. We already looked at Dot on stream. Why would I change the title? How long do I think it'll take for a link to break its prior all-time high? I don't know. I mean, it depends on Bitcoin, right? I mean, if it where is it now? It's at 1519. I mean, we're just like a skip and a jump. a hop, skip, and a jump away. I mean, we only need to go up. So that point, so about 36%. Man, I'm sorry I'm tired. I stayed up until like 2 a.m. last night with my 1-month-old. So I'm pretty tired. And then I got up like 4 hours later. So I went to bed at like 2:30 and then got up at 6:30. And I don't like coffee. That's what sucks, right? It's like I need caffeine, but I don't like coffee. That's my general thinking, right? We can sleep when the bull market's over, right? We'll have plenty of time to sleep and dream about how to spend all the money. Um, but when there's money to be made, it's hard to want to spend too much time not watching the markets, right? Oh man, back down to 540, and I told you it's because we didn't get to 1,500 likes. Why is Ether rallying Q1 every year? I don't know. That's just when it wants to rally. Maybe my general thinking in that is that maybe what it is like in Q4 it tends to correspond with a lot of like um, people getting together and like hanging out and like holiday season, so people are talking about crypto, like we're all that guy or that girl in the family talking about crypto to everyone who doesn't want to hear about it. And then the market starts rallying around Bitcoin, and then at Christmas, your uncle's like, oh, like what about that Bitcoin? And it's like, oh, it's already rallied so much. Why don't you buy Ethereum instead? And I mean, obviously, this is probably not what happens, but this is kind of what I like to think happens. Like Bitcoin rallies around the holidays, and then people feel like they missed the train on Bitcoin, and then Ethereum and some other coins will take off. Yeah, we look at it with stocks. I basically sell like I have a different selling strategy with stocks than crypto, but I was able to sell 10% of my stocks a few months ago, right before a big dip actually, and it was really nice. And we're not back to that level yet. So as long as we don't get too overheated, then I don't sell. Did Bitcoin pull back or something? I didn't even look. Okay, yeah, I mean Bitcoin's at 18.7. Does the 20-week moving average bull market support work for other cryptos and Bitcoin? I think so. I think you can use it for Ethereum. And you can see, generally speaking, in a bull market, it seems to hold, Ethereum seems to hold support at the 20-week as well. And it has recently too. Glad you like the content on my way. Uh, Someone says Bitcoin sideways during your stream. The curse is weakening. The reason for that is because historically speaking, when I do live streams, the market tends to correct a couple percent. The other moving average for the bull market support is just the 21-week EMA. Can I teach you how to set up TradingView? What do you mean? Just go to TradingView and type in the asset you want to look at. Remember to check out the Black Friday sale if you guys want to get in at the lower price for the premium content. How do I stay motivated to create content? I mean, I think the coefficient of static friction is a lot higher than the coefficient of kinetic friction. I mean, once you get going, it's easy to just keep going. It's making that first video that's hard, and doing that first report that's hard. But once you do it, then it's a lot easier to keep going. I don't think there's any certainty about a correction. I mean, a correction will come at some point, but I don't think anyone can tell you with certainty when it will come or how nasty it will be. Yeah, I have gained about 10,000 subscribers this month. It was actually crazy because my initial goal was to just get to 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and now I have 53,000. Remember, if you guys do subscribe to the premium list and you can't find the welcome email, it generally goes to the promotions tab or spam or social tab in your inbox, and it can take 20 minutes to get there. The weekly reports are like special topics. So like last week we talked about the dominance. One week we talked about like investing in crypto through the confines of an IRA. We've talked about more specific things related to some of the bubbles that have formed. A couple of videos ago, I shared my portfolio weightings. We look at a lot of different things. Yeah, I don't run ads and I don't do donations. You know something that I saw though recently, and it is somewhat concerning to me. I got an email from YouTube saying that they now reserve the right to run ads on channels that even have opted out of AdSense, and I thought that was a little bit absurd. To be, I mean, I don't know why, but they did say that. I hope they don't do that though. Let's hope they don't do that. But it was like a change in their terms and conditions. Are they running ads on my channel? Like, have you guys had to watch ads while viewing my videos now? I mean, from a business perspective, I understand why they're doing it, right? The like I understand why they would do it, right? They're just trying to increase their bottom line. My main concern with the ads is that some of the ads that will run are like the scam ads, and I just don't want people seeing those ads on my channel, right? Like if I knew that all the ads that would be shown would be okay, then I still probably wouldn't do it, but at least it wouldn't be as bad. But my main concern is that there's a lot of those scam ads that'll run, and I just don't want those scams popping up on my channel. Okay, good. So people are saying they've never seen an ad on my channel. So that's how it should be. I just want to make sure you guys aren't seeing them. What are my hobbies other than crypto and a newborn? I do have a full-time job as well in computational material science. I do like to play chess. Um, take the kids out to the park, that type of stuff. Not doing as much as that recently with the pandemic, but Ricky says I keep pushing my premium list. Well, yeah, I mean that's the point, right? Like most channels you see will monetize through ads and affiliate links and that type of stuff. I just do it by providing more content. So that way, you don't have to see the ads, you don't have to see the affiliate links. It's just my own stuff. I am on Lichess. I am. But actually, I think I got locked out. I was signed out recently and I've had trouble logging back in. My elo in chess is around 1700 or so. Favorite chess player? I probably know more about chess than you would think, because I'll actually watch those long tournaments. Uh, like the champion Magnus Carlsen, he played Fabiano Caruana in the last World Chess Championship. The Norwegian beat the American in tie breaks at the end. There's actually a few U.S. chess streamers. Hikaru Nakamura streams chess. Um, Actually, if you guys want to see a fun chess channel, you should check out. There's one called Chess Bra, like Chess Brah, and it's these like Canadian guys, and they're just like normal guys, but they stream chess. I think it's interesting. Yeah, yeah. I like Peter's Fiddler. He's typically on Chess 24. Oh my gosh! Hey, John Bartholomew just posted in the chat. Hey, John, just while I have you here, um, I actually emailed you a long time ago. If you search my name, you might actually find that I messaged you maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, and you did respond. Yeah, if you guys like chess, you should definitely check out John Bartholomew. He's got like a he's got I think John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you have like a is it you that has the climbing the rating ladder videos? I think it was you that had that, but I can't remember. But yeah, John Bartholomew has a pretty good channel if you guys are interested in learning about chess and stuff. I think he's an international master. Dude, I used to watch John all the time back in like 2016, 2017. I used to watch his chess channel a lot actually. Climbing the rating ladder videos are pretty good if you're looking to get better at chess. Which, by the way, the reason why I'm interested in board I was always interested in board games as a kid because it's all about strategy, right? It's all about moving. I mean, not just chess, but any board game really. You have to come up with a strategy and figure out how you're going to win. And it's kind of the same thing with crypto, right? You wanna figure out these momentum shifts in the market, the right moves to make at the right time. You want to checkmate Bitcoin. Believe me, you don't want Bitcoin to checkmate you. And when Bitcoin checkmates you, it looks something like that, right? You want to checkmate Bitcoin. So I think back then when I mainly played board games, I was always thinking like, okay, let's like apply this to markets because if you can think strategically, and you have that kind of a mind, then you should be able to apply it to other things as well and do well. Which stable coins do I use? It depends on the exchange, right? Because some exchanges have certain stable coins and other ones have different ones. Like it depends on the exchange. Yeah, John's pretty well known for doing the uh is it the Scandi or whatever? I can't remember what it's called, but I think that yeah, the Scandinavian. He plays the Scandinavian, the D4, D5, right, when the queen takes. I don't know. I used to follow it all the time. I haven't looked at it as much in a year, but well, I don't know if we're gonna see any more action right now from Ethereum or Bitcoin. They're still chilling out. I'm sure at some point later they'll pump again. I'll come on stream just in time for it to correct again. Oh yeah, E4 D5 and then right E4 D5 ED5 and then Queen D5. John, I would definitely play you on stream sometime if you want. But I'm not nearly as good as you. You would easily beat me. I can guarantee you John would beat me at chess. I can guarantee you. Actually, do you guys know Danny Rinch? I played him once. Unplot key levels of my ELO. I haven't played it. I haven't played chess in a while. I got to around like 1700 like US ranking, but that was it. I played in like 3 tournaments a few years ago. All right, can we officially claim that we killed the rally now? I mean, we did what we were supposed to do, right? We killed the rally. If you think about it, we're doing everyone a favor by giving you more time to accumulate, right? Yeah, I mean we're not killing the macro rally necessarily, but on the 1 hour chart, the all important 1 hour chart. I mean, you guys know when I came on stream, right? It's always at the top. It's always at the local top is when I come on stream. Alright guys, we have hit the 2 hour mark, and typically speaking, I like to wrap it up around the 2 hour mark because we just kind of run out of things to talk about, and I don't want to keep you guys here any longer than I'm feeling like I'm actually providing useful content for. And so why don't we go ahead and wrap it up here at the 2 hour mark and call it a, I would say day, but there's a good chance we'll be back later. But let's call it for now, and we'll keep an eye on the markets. If they start moving, maybe we'll try to come live again. But remember, it can be an exciting time. The things to keep an eye out for are obviously Bitcoin, wanting it to stay relatively healthy above the 20-week moving average. So we have around 55%, 60% above it or so. And if it stays that way, if it stays where it currently is, then we likely will see other coins continue to rally over like a weekly scale. But this, I mean, yes, this is a nice move for Ethereum, but these are not substantial, right? At the end of the day, these moves are not the actual, it's not necessarily the turnaround point. You can see how far we've fallen, and we've only just barely moved up. So the macro scale here on the weekly is still the same, at least for the short term. So we'll see if we can turn around. It typically does turn around at the earliest. In a noticeable turnaround typically happens by January. Sometimes it has happened in December for Ethereum. If it happens now, then it might be the first time it turns around in November. But remember, it's not always the local low is not always in December. Last year, the local low was actually in August or September. It was the first week of September. So even if it were to rally here by December, it could still be a good theoretical buy of Ethereum with Bitcoin in December if the idea is that it will continue to rally like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you guys did, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. I'll remind you guys, we do have the premium list if you guys want to check it out. It is weekly videos, weekly reports, the risk dashboard, trading view indicators, Telegram chat room, Telegram alerts channel, all that sort of stuff. So check it out. The Black Friday sale in the description below or in the comments. We also do have the Telegram channel. In the I'll put that in the comments as well. So that's just if you guys want to join the public chat room and talk crypto with some other people. And actually, we do have one more chat room. I'll put on the other chat room just in case you guys are feeling a little bit more adventurous. We do have a chat room called Into the Crypto Cosm, and that one is reserved for microcaps. So if you guys are interested in microcaps, I would suggest checking that link out, Into the Crypto Cosm, that I just put in the comments. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. And now that I'm going off stream, we'll see if this turns around. It usually does, right? It usually turns around right after I go off stream. So keep an eye out for that. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.